Gaza update now, and there's good news and bad news regarding Gaza. Here's the good news. And here's the bad news. There is still almost continuous violence in Gaza, with close to 800 Palestinians dead and over 10 Israelis dead. Yes, that's right, the Israeli casualty figures have reached the double digits. Now we can stop calling the casualty figures disproportionate. Instead, it has entered the realm of horrific or even tragic. The biggest news last week was the fact that a 3-hour truce was agreed upon by Israel. 3 hours. In the previous episode of News Weekly, I mocked the French president for suggesting a 48-hour ceasefire. France has meanwhile stepped up to the plate, trying to negotiate a 48-hour ceasefire. 48 hours? That's aiming pretty low even for France. It seems I now owe Nicolas Sarkozy an apology. The United Nations, which spent the first few days of the attack on Gaza looking nervous and trying to avoid eye contact, has finally gotten its act together. A hastily convened meeting of the Security Council rushed to issue a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire. They were in such a hurry to get it out that the UN barely had time to stop for speeches and individual grandstanding. Barely anyone got time to say anything, except for Libya, Turkey, Russia, Costa Rica, Japan, Mexico, China, Uganda, Vietnam, Austria, Croatia, and Burkina Faso. Really? We couldn't skip Burkina Faso's speech? People are dying, for God's sakes. So the resolution has been approved. Even America didn't veto it this time. That means the crisis is at an end then, right?
Well, the Israelis have said that they will act in their own interests, and they have carried on firing into Gaza. We've heard the heavy artillery. There goes another one. And ground forces fighting in Gaza. They are not going to stop until Hamas stops, and Hamas are not going to stop until Israel stops.
So basically, all the UN has achieved is wasting paper. In all of this, though, one thing that has stunned the world is the level of bias presented by Israel's Western allies. President Bush finally addressed the Gaza crisis last week, taking time out from meeting the world's only black cowboy.
I understand Israel's desire to protect itself.
An end to violence and a two-state solution. If that's what Hamas want, we can work together.
So it's not violence that's the issue then, it's Palestinian violence that's the problem. Israeli violence apparently is A-OK. Israel has been criticized by the international media though, not for attacking Gaza, most of Western news media has no problem with that, but with restricting their access to the beleaguered strip. Their reason?
One Israeli official had an interesting explanation of this. He said that right now Israel doesn't want foreign journalists or journalists in general inside the Gaza Strip reporting about the humanitarian situation in there, reporting about the military activities, partly for tactical reasons. They don't want anyone giving away battle details, which is understandable, but mostly to try and manage the image. And the Israelis have timed this out. This official told me that he expects this operation, while negotiations are taking place, will last several more days, and that after that reporters would eventually be allowed in. But at that stage, Israel is assuming the United States will mostly be focused on all of the coverage around the inauguration, and that viewers simply won't care at that point.
Is the Israeli government even trying to appear human at this point? Even Dr. Doom has more compassion than this. And finally, because someone, somewhere, decided things just weren't bad enough for the Gazans.
I ask you about the American dream. I mean, I've worked hard. I'm a plumber.
On the campaign trail, he's known as Joe the Plumber. But when he heads to the Gaza Strip, he'll be Joe Wurzelbacher, war correspondent.
If given the opportunity to do some good, however minute it might be, or, it could be something really good, you got to take that chance. You have to do it.
Wurzelbacher will travel to Israel to report for the conservative website, pjtv.com. He intends to get the often lost Israel reason for the offensive against Hamas.
And it's tragic. I mean, it really is. I don't say that in any little way. It's very tragic. But at the same time, what are the Israelis people supposed to do?
Often lost Israeli perspective? Which American channels is he watching? So is Joe, the freaking war plumber correspondent, ready for the violence in Gaza? What's he doing to prepare for the dangers of the region?
Being a Christian, I'm pretty well protected by God, I believe, and it's not saying that he's going to, stop a mortar for me.
So that's what the Jews and Muslims have been doing wrong in the Middle East all this time. You know what? I can't write any more jokes about this. Someone just shoot me, please.